month, tons of mobile games come out, and GameRanks puts together a list for you to sort through. I'm Falcon, and today on GameRanks, the best new iOS and Android games of January 2018. Number 10 is Let Them Come. Now, this one's a pretty easy one to explain. It's a stationary shooter taking place on a spaceship with invading alien hordes. You're a mercenary. You've been hired to take them out. The graphics were clearly a massive amount of effort. It's really gorgeous, really alien-esque pixel art that I think above everything has very simple controls but maintains a really good pace. It never feels forced. It never feels too hard, but it's always a challenge. And like I said, the controls are great, very simple, makes for a very addictive and fun game. It's out on both iOS and Android for $1.99. Number 9 is Meteorfall Journeys, which is a collectible card RPG of the roguelike variety. Basically, you start off with an adventure, you gather cards, and it's kind of one of these games that is sort of in the emerging choose your adventure collectible card game roguelikes. It's not the same thing as Rain or Rain 2, but I want to say it's not far away from it. If you like Rain, I think you'll enjoy this game, but it actually is different enough that I feel fairly comfortable telling you that it's different and fun and cool and a new idea. Meteorfall Journey is out on iOS and Android. It costs $2.99. Number 8 is Antihero, a digital board game in which you perform various objectives like assassinating public officials, public figures, trying to find evidence to use for blackmail in various settings, and a lot of thievery, of course. What's more anti-hero-ish than thieving? The game plays from an isometric view. It has a really interesting style to it that kind of reminds me of Don't Starve, but not like a rip-off of it. It's just reminiscent. And the game essentially plays out like a board game slash strategy game. It has multiplayer, but I've been sticking generally to the single-player campaign. It's great, like seriously. Antihero is out on iOS and Android for $4.99. Number 7 is Four Last Things, a point-and-click adventure game that takes a lot of inspiration from Renaissance art. In fact, it's very obvious the instant you see the game exactly where it's deriving its style from. In many ways, it should remind you of the way Terry Gilliam animated things on Monty Python, but it really puts in all of the adventure game tropes, mechanics, and various intricacies in a really enjoyable way that honestly really benefits from phenomenal presentation, graphics, and style. Four Last Things is out on iOS, Android, and Steam. It costs $3.99 on mobile. Number 6 is Judge, which is absolutely 100% definitely intended to conjure Judge Dredd, although it is not related in any way. When you start it off, the looks are going to tell you that this is a stealth infiltration style game, but it is not. It is an arcade shooter, and it is an incredibly fun arcade shooter. It is a game that just essentially says go wild, do whatever, just make sure you have fun. And keep that philosophy in mind too, because it is a little bit on the easy side, but it's not a major complaint. It's out on iOS, Steam, Switch, PS4, Xbox One, and coming soon to Android. It costs $4.99 on mobile. Number 5 is Portal Knights, which is an interesting game because it very clearly wears a lot of its influences on its sleeve. Although it's a little bit more stylized, it's very clearly something that would never have happened if Minecraft hadn't also happened. But it also really comes off a lot like Zelda and has some very interesting character progression elements. It is kind of an open-ended game, but not open-ended like Minecraft. And truthfully, it's a very nice looking game because it does take advantage of style a little bit more than Minecraft does while still retaining that kind of aesthetic. Portal Knights is out on iOS and Android. It comes in at $4.99. Number 4 is Super Fancy Pants Adventure. If you remember any of the old Newgrounds Fancy Pants games, you basically know what you're getting, except for it's a lot better. There's a little bit more as far as controls, which can be a little bit interesting on the touchscreen, but I'm not going to get too antsy about it because it really captures the momentum of all of the previous games well, and even builds on the formula. I think the physics in this game are probably easily the best of all of them, but it pulls it off. If you like Sonic the Hedgehog, basically give it a shot. If you remember the old build fancy pants games on Newgrounds, you'll love it. It's out on iOS and Steam now, Android soon, and it costs $4.99. Number 3 is Cytus II, which is a rhythm-based game that might make it sound limited. I would say very much that it is not. It is a very pretty, aesthetically very cool game, relying on actually a muted palette with a few select neon colors, lots of electronic music. It sounds pretty basic to explain. A DJ is missing, you're investigating. It's interesting enough though, especially for a rhythm game, but the gameplay is really where the game shines, but it also nails it with a very unique art style. It's out on iOS now, it'll be out on Android soon, and it costs $1.99. Number 2 is Rusty Lake Paradise, a puzzle adventure that relies on some interesting ideas as far as story goes. It describes itself as dark and macabre, which I would say, probably a good way of putting it. Has an interesting art style, not necessarily something you've never seen before, but it's definitely pretty and fits the mood very well. It can be oddly creepy for how muted the palette is and simple some of the designs are. But what really nails everything is the soundtrack. Every different plague, which takes its own place in the story, has a different theme, and although it obviously isn't a massive budget game that's going to blow you away with some type of mechanics, it's atmospheric and it sucks you the hell in. Rusty Lake Paradise is out on iOS and Android. It costs $2.99. And finally, number 1 is The Room Old Sins. Now, The Room is a pretty long-running series, and if you know anything about it, you know the gameplay. It's basically the puzzle room originator. Now, where The Room had to be updated with an ending, The Room 2 and The Room 3 were self-contained stories, a little more dependent on each other than the first, and this game doesn't fall into the same traps that The Room 3 fell into, making the puzzles super elaborate and frankly a bit strange at times. Not in the good way that The Room basically always is. It's always strange. It gets atmosphere just as right as it can be. Now, it does do some things that mix up The Room formula in an interesting way, but if you know what The Room is, you know what you're getting. That said, if they are your thing, or you're just a person who enjoys it because you enjoy a lot of different types of games, I fall into the latter category. This is an excellent room, up there with the second one. It's currently out on iOS, it'll be on Android soon, and it costs $4.99. What was your favorite new iOS or Android game this month? Leave us a comment, let us know. If you enjoyed this video, please click like, and if you're not subscribed, now would be a great time to do so. We upload brand new videos every day of the week, and the best way to see them first is, of course, a subscription. As always, we thank you very much for watching this video. I'm Falcon. You can follow me on Twitter at FalconHero. See you next time, right here on GameRanks.